Welcome to Taking Care of Business on News Talk 1180 KERN for the best in Saturday Talk Radio at 1 o'clock, and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the best in Wednesday Talk Radio on 1410 KERI, the Christian station. We are now on 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and also 3 times a week. Clay, I'm not going to ask you to count to 3 this time. Okay. 3 times a week on the internet nationwide through knookmedia.com. Plus, you can catch any of our shows for the last 4 years on YouTube at The Clay and Marty Show. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay, and our producer is Greg Held. Hey, Clay, that was a great show last week with Dr. Waleed Ferris.
Well, you know, I wasn't here. I was in Las Vegas giving a talk on how to overcome Obamacare problems.
Well, that's why it was a great show.
But I might have been. I did listen in, and it was a good show, and Dr. Ferris is a scary individual.
Yeah, you know, he made the point that we're in a war and we really don't know about it. One side doesn't know that they're in a war, and it's us.
I think it's our side, that doesn't realize it.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse.
That has to do with something to do with the leadership at the top of this country.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't think we're as safe
Let's
as
go
we
play
were
golf.
After 9/11. Or pool. He played pool the other night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Second half of the show, we had an old friend of mine, Rob West, the author of The Thin Wall, who is a big part of the POW movement. That was an interesting interview with him. But also, I want to make a comment. We've got some great, incredible guests coming in the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk about that later. But today we've got another great show. In the second half, we have author and counselor therapist Elizabeth Skoglund. But in studio right now, we've got an old friend of the show, Starstruck founder Marcus Johnson. Marcus, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Hey, I'm glad to see you guys taking care of business, and obviously Starstruck is taking care of business to be here in the studio with you gentlemen.
After 3 years, you're still here.
Yes, in California.
After all the rules, regulations, and requirements, you're still here.
You're talking our language now.
I like that. In California. When was the last time we had you on? Was it about 3 years ago?
That was 2011, right when our company was launching off. That was about September, I believe, somewhere in that area, 2011.
Well, I just saw a YouTube video that I thought was pretty good on Starstruck, talking about your success story. Tell our listeners a little bit about what Starstruck is and your success story.
Yeah, actually, what Starstruck is we're an entertainment and event support services company. We started in 2011, but my partners and I, along with the people that serve as managers within our company, we have almost nearly over 100 years of entertainment and event production experience. We have everything from event janitorial services to state licensed entertainment and event security. We have concession logistics and management, parking lot management. We have stage production services, pretty much the whole gambit. We could essentially be a mobile facility. So we're an asset to whether it be local venues, local producers, local promoters, event planners, venue operators, everything in between. We work with a lot of different film companies throughout Kern County when they send their productions here. So we wanted to service not only just the state of California, but mainly Bakersfield and the Kern County region in that service area.
You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is you're a good example of a success story in a really bad economy, and yet you've still survived and thrived. And I love that little YouTube. I love the way you started off talking about you called your wife one day and said, "Honey, I just got promoted." You want to tell that story?
Yeah, I remember that very well. I was originally employed at a well-known venue here in town in 2009, and then was laid off from that organization. And it was a bummer. And we went to the Petroleum Club that evening. She had no idea what was going on, and I said, "Hey, I got some good news, babe." She's like, "Yeah, what's that?" I said, "I got a promotion." And she's, "Oh, great, what's a promotion?" And I said, "I got laid off." And her jaw hit the ground, and she's probably thinking, why are we spending nearly $100 on this meal here? And at the time, the concept, nor had I, had any discussion with the partners that we have in the company about the idea. I didn't have the concept at all about Starstruck or anything. I was more concerned about getting back to that place of being employed, that safety net, so to speak. And, And that kind of ended up being a landmark, not only for me, but also for her, as of kind of like a day of reckoning, is, putting your hand to the plow and just getting out there to make it happen. And then over a period of 2 years, put it together, got with some great partners. We talked about it for over almost a year on how we could execute it. And then in 2011 of April is when we officially formed the company.
So did you find it hard to set up the company with all the rules, the regulations, and requirements?
There is a lot of rules and, regulations in California. And the interesting thing about California is, I just recently understood that we're like the 8th world power in the global economy.
Right.
We did over, 2 trillion GDP in 2013. We're ahead of Russia. We're ahead of Italy, those things. But yes, there are a lot of arduous regulations that are within California that kind of tie the knot. I'm a firm believer that government needs to get out of the way of the private sector. I do believe the only thing that let me rephrase this. I think the best thing government can do is create a climate for the entrepreneur and the small business person.
Amen.
The climate. I believe that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, amen. We're having a conversation with Marcus Johnson from Starstruck.
So, Marcus, you started with just a couple of partners when you first got the business going, and I imagine you have what they call on-call employees. You don't have them on staff all the time?
Yeah, the majority of our majority of our employment group is really seasonal employees. When you're in a city such as Bakersfield, Kern County, truthfully, it's not an entertainment and event mecca, known as like some of your major cities such as New York, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. So majority of our employees tend to be seasonal, but we formed this company with the hopes in mind of the growth and development of the community as a whole. So that's why we built the company in the middle. You had spoken earlier of a recession. I mean, you had companies like GE, Microsoft, Revlon, Federal Express. These were all companies that were birthed in the early 70s, right during the recession. So we saw it as a good opportunity as well to get in on the ground level. And I think that's where we're at.
So when you need an employee, where do you go to get them? Do you have all your employees on call, or you need employees that aren't on call sometimes?
Yeah, it varies. I mean, what we try to do is we try to source out good quality people. One thing that I can say we're proud about with Starstruck Entertainment is our compensation. We never did go in paying anybody minimum wage. We started that right off. We didn't want the government to kind of be the one to say what the standard was. We wanted the quality of people that we wanted, the vision and the direction that the partners of the company wanted to take the company to offer that compensation. So obviously with better compensation, you have a better pool of personnel that you can pull from, and people have, respect for that. For us, we want to make money, but we want good quality people that will, ensure our longevity as a company, as an organization, to continue to grow.
So if somebody wanted to work for you, how would they get in contact with you, or would you want them to call you?
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah, they can definitely make contact with us. We're always receiving applications. You can go on our website, www.teamstarstruck, that's TEAMSTARSTRUCK.com. Also, you can call our toll-free number, 888-919-6828, and you can get in contact with us that way. Also, you can go like us on Facebook, Team Starstruck on Facebook. Like I said, we're always taking applications. Because it is seasonal work, the peaks and times change. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. We just kind of roll with the punches to provide the services for our clients.
Well, one of the things I noticed on this little YouTube video that I saw is that you partnered with the Small Business Development Center.
Yes.
How did that work for you?
Very interesting. I had actually read a story in the Bakersfield Life magazine about the Small Business Development Center, and I had two great consultants, Tom Weir and Maureen Busher-Dang, that really came right along right at the very beginning. We, our partners and I, had already started the process of forming the organization, the limited liability company and such, but they came right in the beginning, gave us some tremendous resources, and the good thing about the SBDC is that it was free. So it really encouraged the entrepreneurial spirit that anybody would have. They certainly came alongside. We are still involved with the Small Business Development Center, but now that we've gotten our legs and we've grown to where we're at, the conversations and the communication is a little bit far, in between now, because now we're kind of more developed in our business.
Now, you know, we have a lot of listeners outside of California. So do you do business outside of California or just California?
Our primary focus is within California. There are services that we can do outside of the state of California, such as our talent acquisition, which one of our branded divisions is Starlink Entertainment, which we can procure talent such as, you know, if somebody wants to have Marty or Clay, we'll go ahead and broker the deal to have these fine radio hosts fly out to Albuquerque or whatever. So we do provide some services outside of the state of California, but our primary element is to do business in California.
Well, considering the fact that we're minimal cost, that would be very easy for you to do.
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, speak for yourself, Marty. I'm a little more costly.
That's true. You're high maintenance. So when we come back from the break, you know, we were going to talk about minimum wage. We'll do that when we come back from the break. And also, one last thing. I wanted to thank you because I remember one day the county fair was here and Doobie Brothers were here, and you got to invited me backstage. I had a blast with that. That was a lot of fun. So
and that was that. Well, I don't think it was the Dewey Brothers. It was Kelly Pickler.
Well, actually, Kelly Pickler and the Doobie
Oh,
Brothers.
yeah, that's right. That sure is right. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
I remember.
Good memory. We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180.